Hi, hello. Welcome back to Emily A to Z. My name is Emily and today is my May TBR video. I have tried to film this now like 3 times. This is it. Last time, third one's the charm. We can do this. I am really excited this month. It feels very busy. Spring is here. We're getting ready to go into summer. School's almost done. My work is coming upon the end of its fiscal year. It just seems like this time of year, everything is just coming together. Now that being said, I feel like I'm just wanting to destroy my life by reading all the things and taking on way too many responsibilities. What do I mean by that? I have decided to participate in my very first ever readathon, which is Escape the Readathon. It is hosted by Books with Lexi. I will drop her channel as well as the description video, announcement video in my own description, so you know everything that's going on. But basically, this is the 3rd year running, and this year we are on a cruise ship, and the whole point is it is a team-based collaborative readathon where we are split into 4 different teams: detectives, podcasters, mediums, and hackers. And you just read as much as possible, and you use your books to complete challenges. I've decided that I'm going to be on Team Detective. That just spoke to me, and I'm in my group. We are stuck on this cruise. We are trying to escape this cruise because at the end of the month, only one team is going to survive. I would like that to be my team. I think we all want it to be our team, but I would like it to be my team. But we are on this cruise ship, and there are 6 different rooms on this cruise ship. We have to read a book that fits the prompt to unlock that room. Once we get into a room, we are then presented with a game. And to play the game, you are given more mystery prompts, usually about 2 so far is what I've gathered. And you read books according to that prompt. The catch is, one of those games will unlock the room for us, and we are allowed to then leave the room and move on. The other one is not going to do anything for us, but we don't know which one it is. So you just have to read and hope to figure it out. No, there's a lot of strategy involved. Your team, you need to communicate with your team and kind of be on the same page, but really it's just a bunch of reading, and I am excited for that. Nervous and excited, but so with there's 6 game rooms, and then there's 2 additional rooms that we don't know really anything about at this point. The 6 rooms are the dining room, the bar, the pool, the theater, the arcade, and the gym and spa. The 2 additional rooms are the concierge desk and the library. Now they're not required. Those are for logging pages, and it's kind of viewed like if you DNF a book before 50%, you would log the amount of pages you read in the library or with the concierge. And we don't know, but at a certain point, or a certain threshold, however many pages that is, will unlock that room for us. So the dining room, you need to read a book that matches your current outfit, meaning you match the cover to whatever you're wearing when you pick that book or start that book or whatever. In the bar, it's to read a genre blend, meaning the book has more than 1 genres. And those are the big genres. It's not you wouldn't do paranormal horror, because that's just a subgenre of horror, but a romance and with fantasy, those have 2 distinct genres. We have the theater, which would be to read a popcorn read, which is really anything that you just eat up, right? It's quick, it's fast paced, it keeps you engaged, and it's pretty easy to consume in one sitting. Then the pool is to have a double letter in the title. The letters do not have to be next to each other. So you could think of a title like Bunny, B-U-N-N-Y. Those 2 N's are next to each other. That works, but also anything that just has 2 of the same letter. It can't have more than 2. It has to have 2 of the same letter. And that's way more common than I think people realize. It is very common. What is next? The arcade. An arcade is an underrated book, so something that is loved but maybe not doesn't have a lot of readers, or maybe is, I argue maybe it doesn't have to be loved, but maybe it just is literally underrated and doesn't have a lot of like hype about it. No one's talking about it. And then the last room is the gym and spa, which is to read a book that you have been putting off. I am not picking books specifically to play this game because I already have an established TBR. My goal is to take all of the books that I already have picked and try and fit them into those prompts, which is, oh, it'll be fine. Because the good news is I joined on like May 2nd, like either day of or day after I joined, and my team had already opened one of the rooms. I am not going to say which one, but you'll probably be able to figure it out because I won't be fulfilling that prompt. Or will I? And we'd already opened a room, so I didn't have to like go, okay, so that has to fit this prompt, which is really nice on my part. And like that room is like taken care of. We are good to go. And it's just one less thing for me to worry about, but I'm feeling really good. But let's go through my TBR and match them to these prompts for Escape the Readathon. Starting off with Magical Stitches, which is the group that I run on Facebook. It is a cross-stitch and reading group, so if you like to cross-stitch, you can join us. If you like to read, you can join us. If you don't cross-stitch, you're still welcome to join in on the reading side of things, or maybe you could pick up cross-stitch and find a new hobby. It's a lot of fun, but we have an overarching series of the year or a theme, and every month there are cross-stitch prompts as well. So I will say you need to work on a cross-stitch piece that has people on it, and I will tie it to the book we're reading. So that's exciting. But that is something I do. Feel free to check it out. It's always in the link in the description. Maybe it's not actually, but I will drop it in the description this time if you're interested in that. Along with our designated like book of the month, we also have 3 additional challenges to complete throughout the month. So the book this month is actually book number 6 in the A Series of Unfortunate Events series by Lemony Snicket, and that is The Ersatz Elevator. We are following the children as they go to live with the next guardian, and that is Mr. and Mrs. Squalor that live in this like 70-something room penthouse and are like hoity-toity and obsessed with what's in and what's out, and the kids are trying to find out what happened to their friends, the Quagmire triplets. And we are moving kind of past that like fun comedy of errors, gothic middle grades into now like a middle grade mystery as the story is deepening and expanding and the characters are a lot more nuanced and there are deeper levels and connections than previously seen. We are reading book number 6 this month. Next, it is to read a book that has an emotion in the title. And for that, I am picking Reluctant Immortals by Gwendolyn Kist or Keist. I was gifted this on my birthday by my great friend, the Macabre Librarian. It was one of her blind dates with a book, and it was a lot of fun to open. I'm excited to get into this. I think I'm going to use this one for the outfit prompt to match something to my outfit, which is the dining room, because I have something that I think will fit this perfectly. And I will just make sure when I go to like log a book for the dining room that I am wearing that outfit and I am picking that book for this. That's the thought so far. This is a like horror fantasy. So this is also a genre blend. Who knows what I'm going to pick it for. That this is a horror novel that looks at 2 men, Mr. Rochester and Dracula, and the 2 women who survived them, Bertha and Lucy, who are now undead immortals. They are residing in Los Angeles in 1967 when Rochester and Dracula make a shocking return in the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. Combining elements of historical and gothic fiction with a modern perspective and a tale of love and betrayal and coercion, Reluctant Immortals is the lyrical and harrowing journey of 2 women as they bravely claim their own destiny in a man's world. I'm very excited to read this. I have read Gwendolyn Kist before, but I have not read this one. And it is blurbed by Stephen Graham Jones. The next prompt or challenge for Magical Stitches is to read a debut author. Now, this is a meaning an author's very first book. This is their debut, not their nonfiction debut or their YA debut. No, like this is their very first book. For that, I have picked Aisha at Last, and this by Uzma Halaluddin or Jalaluddin. I'm not sure how the J is pronounced. This was gifted to me by my sister for Christmas one year, and I know that this is a Pride and Prejudice retelling, but I don't know Pride and Prejudice. So I'm still gonna read it, but I think I do need to read Pride and Prejudice because I've never read Pride and Prejudice. And I know it's like my sister's favorite classic, which is why she read this and then gifted it to me. Whoops. Yeah. But Aisha Shamsi has a lot going on. Her dreams of being a poet have been set aside for a teaching job so she could pay off her debts to her wealthy uncle. She lives with her boisterous Muslim family and is always being reminded that her flighty younger cousin Hafsa is close to rejecting her 100th marriage proposal. Though Aisha is lonely, she doesn't want an arranged marriage. Then she meets Khalid, who is just as smart and handsome as he is conservative and judgmental. She is irritatingly attracted to someone who looks down on her choices and dresses like he belongs in the 7th century. When a surprise engagement is announced between Khalid and Hafsa, Aisha is torn between how she feels about the straightforward Khalid and the unsettling new gossip she hears about his family. Looking into the rumors, she finds she has to deal with not only what she discovers about Khalid, but also the truth she realizes about herself. I am choosing this because this also does say Aisha at Last is this author's debut novel, and I think this would fit for the underrated prompt for the arcade because I had never heard of this before, and I don't think it has that many readers or is that popular, at least anymore, but whenever it came out. It's a few years old. It's been on my TBR for a while. It looks like this came out in 2018. So this could also be one I've been meaning to get to because I have been putting it off, but it also, I think this would fit really, really well for an underrated book. The final prompt for Magical Stitches is to read a book that has been recommended to you, that someone else has said, hey, you should really read this book. I'm going with Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was also gifted to me by my sister-in-law, and I am counting that as a recommendation because she did buy it as this was her favorite book the year she read it and was like, this is my favorite book. You need to read this. So I'm taking this as a recommendation. Everyone knows Daisy Jones and the Six. The band's album Aurora came to define the rock and roll era of the late 70s, and an entire generation of girls wanted to grow up to be Daisy. But no one knows the reason behind the group's split on the night of their final concert at Chicago Stadium on July 12th, 1979 until now. Dun dun dun! I don't think I need to read much more. I do know it's told in like interview format, and I think I've been told that the audiobook for this is like phenomenal, so I will be trying to get the audiobook as well. And that wraps up Magical Stitches. Oh, what can I pair this to? I don't think I can put this on with a shirt. This would work for Pool because it has two eyes with the I in Daisy and the I in Six. It also has two E's, the one in Jones and the one in the. Potentially and for the A, but it doesn't actually spell out the word and, so I'm not gonna do that. So this could work for Pool. So I've got outfit, I've got underrated, and I've got Pool. For the family book club that I am in, which is hosted by all of the women on my husband's side of the family, it's a lot of fun. We meet every couple months and pick. We are reading No Two Persons by Erica Bauermeister. This is actually my mother-in-law's pick, and I'm excited to dive right in. She gave us 3 different options and asked us all to look into them, and 2 out of the 3 were more historical fiction novels set during World War II, and a bunch of us were like, we're kind of historical fictioned out after the Book of Everlasting Things, and I just read The Nightingale on top of that. I need a break from like 1940s. And so we all agreed to do No Two Persons. 1 book, 9 readers, 10 changed lives. That was the beauty of books, wasn't it? They took you places you didn't know you needed to go. Alice has always wanted to be a writer. Her talent is innate, but her stories remain safe and detached until a devastating event breaks her heart open and she creates a stunning debut novel. Her words in turn find their way to readers, from a teenager hiding her homelessness to a free diver pushing himself beyond endurance, an artist furious at the world around her, a bookseller in search of love, and a widower racked by grief. Each one is drawn into Alice's novel. Each one discovers something different that alters their perspective and presents new pathways forward for their lives. Together, their stories reveal how books can affect us in the most beautiful and unexpected of ways, and how we are all more closely connected to one another than we might think. I think this is going to be really beautiful. I'm really excited about this one. I just picked up the audiobook for it as well. What would this fit for? I could potentially match this to an outfit. I'm sure I have this color, like blue, of a shirt I could wear. But does it have any double letters? It does have 2 ends, so this could work for pool. I don't know that I would consider this a popcorn read. But this really could only either be pool or dining room. Then, for my local library, the 2 challenges I am participating for in that, we have Read with Pride and the online reading challenge. For Read with Pride, we are focusing this year on reading LGBTQIA plus fiction and nonfiction, or has books featuring those characters, or written by queer authors. This month's pick is actually The Color Purple, which I have already read. So instead, I went back through years past. I said this year, but we've run it for a couple years now. I went through all of previous year's submission picks and looked at ones that I have not read before, which brought me to The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. In 1985, I think it's Yale Tishman is about to pull off an amazing coup, bringing in an extraordinary collection of 1920s paintings as a gift to the gallery where he works. Yet, as his career begins to flourish, the carnage of the AIDS epidemic grows around him. One by one, his friends are dying, and after his friend Nico's funeral, the virus circles closer and closer to Yale himself. Soon, the only person he has left is Fiona, Nico's little sister. 30 years later, Fiona is in Paris tracking down her estranged daughter. While staying with an old friend, a famous photographer who documented the Chicago crisis, she finds herself finally grappling with the devastating ways AIDS affected her life. The 2 intertwining stories takes us through the heartbreak of the 80s and the chaos of the modern world, as both Yale and Fiona struggle to find goodness in the midst of disaster. And I do love this cover. This could probably be an easy one to match an outfit to. It's just different shades of yellow, pretty much, with a few other purpley pinky things in here. This could be good, but also I doubt this is going to be this is not a popcorn read. I can't say it's underrated because it is a book award finalist. It also was one of the 10 best books of 2018 according to New York Times. So a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. Yeah, I don't think that this is going to be a underrated pick. It's not one I've been putting off because I just picked it. I don't think it's a genre blend. This really only leaves me with the option of matching it to an outfit and or waiting till we unlock our next room and see what the game in that room is and see if this can match to that room. So that's always an option. For the online reading challenge this year, that's what changes. Every year there's always an online reading challenge, but the theme of the challenge changes every year. We've done destinations, we've done time periods, we've done, what else have we done? Countries. But this year the theme is genres. So each month is a different genre that they pick a book for and we should read. I'm arguing this time it's not a genre, it's a format. The theme for May is graphic novels. That's not a genre, that's just a format. So their pick is Persepolis, which I looked into, and it's a graphic novel memoir of an immigrant's story and the trials and tribulations that she goes through as her family, I believe, deal with war. Also very heavy. I just finished some super heavy books concerning war, and I just couldn't do it again. You getting all comfy, miss? So I said, I'm going to pick my own graphic novel, and I actually came across this, which is The Chromatic Fantasy by H.A. It just caught my eye, and then I read what it was about and went, sold. A tale of life and love from hell and earth. Jules is a trans man trapped in his life as a nun. Like that alone. What? The devil that the convent guards against offers him a deal to escape, an illicit tryst and lifelong possession. Jules takes the deal and begins his new life as a criminal who's impervious to harm. He soon meets Casper, another trans man and a poetic thief, and together they steal, lie, and cheat their way through bewildering adventures and develop feelings for each other along the way. But as Jules and Casper's relationship deepens, so does the devil's jealous grasp. Come on. Does that not sound so interesting? I am so intrigued. I can't wait to dive right in. This is my graphic novel pick, and there's so much going on this cover. I don't know if I could match this to an outfit. There's so much happening, unless I wore like rainbow or like something with roses on it. But I do think that this could work for, this could do pool. It has two H's. There's one in the and one in chromatic. There's multiple A's, so that won't work. There's multiple T's. We could do, there are two C's, the one at the beginning and the one at the end of chromatic. This could also work for underrated. I'd never heard of this before, so I think that's also a really good pick. I don't think this is going to be a genre blend. It might be, I mean, romance, but unless maybe fantasy, it could be a genre blend with like the devil. So like there is some like magic or fantastical elements to it. So like fantasy and romance. So this could also be a genre blend. I will consider that. I'll see how I feel when I get into it. We're getting into some other like book clubs that are all hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. First are her two buzzword challenges. There's the Buzzwordathon Buzzword Challenge, which just has something to do with titles. For the month of May, it is to have the word to, T-O, or to, T-O-O in the title. I have chose Welcome to Cooper by Tariq Ashkanani. In this explosive thriller of bad choices and dark crimes, Detective Levine knew his transfer was a punishment, but he had no idea just how bad it would get. Cooper, Nebraska is forgettable and forgotten, a town you'd only stumble into if you'd taken a seriously wrong turn, like Detective Thomas Levine's career has, a wrong turn. But when a young woman is found lying in the snow, choked to death, her eyes gouged out, the disgraced detective is Cooper's only hope for restoring peace and justice. For Levine, still grieving and guilt-ridden over the death of his girlfriend, his so-called transfer from the big city to this grubby backwater has always felt like a punishment. And when his irascible new partner shoots their prime suspect using Levine's gun, all hope of redemption is shattered. With the case in chaos, and both blackmail and a violent drug cartel to contend with, he finds himself in a world of trouble. It gets worse. The real killer is still out there, and he's got plans for Detective Levine, and Cooper may just be the perfect place to get away with murder. I think I could match this to an outfit because it's primarily white. I think I can match that with like a little hint of red. I have a shirt that could match this, so I could definitely do an outfit to do Welcome to Cooper. That's awesome. Then for the Buzzword cover challenge, this month is to have eyes on the cover, and I'm going with the Ash House because that's the primary focus of this cover, are these kids' spooky ass eyes. They had rules, they had order, they had hope. He showed up at the front steps of the Ash House, desperate for a cure for his complex pain syndrome. Instead, the new boy found a community of strange children long abandoned by their mysterious headmaster. The children at the Ash House want the new boy to love their home as much as they do. They give him a name like theirs, Saul for solitude, remembering the importance of nicenesses and the rules made by the headmaster. They show him the dorms and tell him about the wonderful life the headmaster has created for them. But the new boy already has a name, doesn't he? At least he did before he walked through those gates. And where's the headmaster they wait for day after day? As Saul tries to acclimate to life inside the Ash House, it becomes clear that this is anything but a healing refuge for children like him. In fact, no one is allowed to get sick at the Ash House. No one. And then the doctor arrives. I haven't said where some of these last ones have come from. Okay. Library book. Welcome to Cooper was an Amazon Prime first reads pick. That could also count for a book that I have been putting off because I picked that a couple years ago and have never read it. The Ash House by Ankarad Walker Ooh, which I could match an outfit to this as well. This is like a bluey gray. It's actually blue. It looks kind of black in my viewfinder, but it's actually blue. It's not the right shade, but it's an all blue cover. It is just shades of blue. I thought it was like black, but it is just shades of blue. So, I mean, hey, I'm wearing all blue. This could work. I matched my outfit. What else does this have? It also has 2 E's. It has 2 S's. I could also say that this is underrated because I have not heard like anyone talking about this. I got this from a library book sale. So it was withdrawn from our collection and then it was marked as for sale. And you can purchase it for like $0.25 and support your library. So that's what we did. What prompt am I forgetting? Ooh, this could possibly be a popcorn read as well, because I tend to read like horror thrillers pretty quick. So that could be a popcorn read. The Literally Dead Book Club book for this month is Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker. I have already started this book. I am going to finish this book today, not gonna lie. This has definitely been like a popcorn read. I cannot put this down, but I think I'm actually going to use it as a genre blend because it is a horror mystery. Let me explain after I read the synopsis. Cora Zhang is a crime scene cleaner, washing away the remains of brutal murders and suicides in Chinatown. But none of that seems so terrible when she's already witnessed the most horrific thing possible, her sister Delilah being pushed in front of a train. Before fleeing the scene, the murderer shouted 2 words, Bat Eater. So the bloody messes don't really bother Cora. She's more bothered by the germs on the subway railing, the bare hands of a stranger, the hidden viruses in every corner, and the bite marks on her coffee table. Of course, ever since Delilah was killed in front of her, Cora can't be sure what's real and what's in her head. She pushes away all feelings and ignores the advice of her aunt to prepare for the Hungry Ghost Festival, when the gates of hell open. But she can't ignore the dread in her stomach as she keeps finding bat carcasses at crime scenes, or the scary fact that all her recent cleanups have been the bodies of East Asian women. As Cora will soon learn, you can't just ignore hungry ghosts. This has been such a wild ride. Definitely like a popcorn thriller, but I say genre blend because yes, it is horrific. We are dealing with supernatural, ghosty hauntings and stuff like that. And at the same time, Cora is stuck dealing with / trying to like solve the murders of these women. She and her like other co-workers start noticing this trend of it being Chinese women or East Asian women who are all the victims, with this like calling card of a bat being left at the murder scene. And they start to dive into it because they don't think that the police are taking it seriously. This book takes place during the pandemic, does display all of the horrible racist things that happened to Asian people during that time. And so they don't think that these crimes are being taken seriously because it's in the midst of this pandemic. And there was so much like Asian hate during that time, which was awful. So I definitely count it is a mystery and a horror because of the ghosts, but then also because there's a serial killer on the loose and they're trying to figure out who did it and who is it. That wraps up my official TBR. Now there are a couple other things I just want to touch on. I don't have a Prime's first read pick this month. I looked through all of them and none of them called for me, and so I chose not to select one. I figured it was smarter to not pick one because it would just be a waste. Why would I pick something I'm really not that interested in? Because I'm not going to read it. If it doesn't call to me now, that's not going to change. So I just passed on my Prime first read. There are some new horrors coming out this month that I'm keeping my eye on, like The Manor of Dreams by Christina Lee, Overgrowth by Mira Grant, Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang, who wrote Natural Beauty. And I just handled Immaculate Conception today at my job. I work at a library. If you're new here, hi, hello. And it is stunning. It is stunning. It took everything in me not to like flip through it. I'm also really, really interested in The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling and We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. Those are horror books on my radar. And I also have a secret TBR that I'm not talking about because I have a month-long project that I am working on that you will see at the beginning of June. But wish me luck. Let's just say it has a daily challenge, and So far, I have not failed. It's only been 6 days, but I have not failed. But that wraps up my TBR. Thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to be participating in my first ever readathon and just to read all the things. It just seemed really fitting. I wanted to do something. I was looking for readathons in April. Nothing really grabbed my eye. So this felt perfect. And I'm gonna go on a cruise very soon myself. So that's also really exciting. Like, we are ready to go. I am so pumped for just all the things. I have to go now. Thank you so much. I will see you all very, very soon. Be easy with your hearts.